welcome back. So, last episode we did prettier, but there's another project cleanliness tool that we can enable, and that is ESLint. This one is a little more involved in best practices. And I may have a little Easter egg, not really an Easter egg, but a general helpful tip later on with this upgrade. It is an upgrade because this new version of ESLint may have some people scratching their heads, and it had me scratching my head for about a few hours. So let's dig into it. All right. I'm going to nix out some of these existing lines. And we're going to complexity. That is the one. And we're going to open our app component here, and you can see how many lines of code there is in here. 18 to, it's about 18, but let's see what happens when we add some more. Yeah. Oh, and here's error lens helping us out again. Constructor has too many statements. Max allowed is 16. So that is coming from our ESLint. Now, why would you want to do this? In most cases, you really don't want your functions to be running too much code. You may have scenarios where you want to do such things, but ideally, your function should be doing one thing and one thing only. I'll try to embed that knowledge in later episodes of this series. So for now, let's just take that as gospel. This number is negotiable. Again, discuss this with your team. And yeah, so same rules as prettier. If you're going to enable these, make sure you discuss with your team, especially your team lead if you're not the team lead. All right, so that is complexity. I'm going to paste the other files back, other lines back. So max parameters is how many things you can, how many parameters. Why do I try to change the words? Max params, right? How many parameters you can have in your function calls. So imagine if we had, why do I have to imagine? Let's just sure. Let's just take the Codium autocomplete, but we're going to add a few more parameters. I guess it doesn't matter what it really is. Let's just say, oh, I guess I can switch back to the non-git diff view. So we're going to go back to the file and add another one. That's 4, right? Then 3. That's too many parameters. I don't know. 4 may be a good medium 3 is kind of strict, and 5 is like, why do I even bother having this configuration, right? So this also what am I trying to say? This also plays into the other configuration, the too many lines of code configuration. So if your function is trying to take all of these parameters, it needs to use them somehow, right? And you may not be just doing one thing. Your functions should do one thing and one thing only. So we'll try to drive this point home. That's why we have these configurations. So let's undo that. Actually, I'm just going to get rid of this whole thing. All right. That's that configuration. I'm going to go to the file so you don't have to see the diff, because max statements. I'm pretty sure that's the same as complexity. I'll have to look this up. Oh, make sure your project is running. So once you make a configuration change for ESLint, somehow it could mess things up. So stop and start your development server. Make sure that is working. I'm going to add back that other line that I removed before. You can see we can ignore certain files or a particular rule. Now, in previous versions of ESLint, this property was actually called ignored files. So something like this. But I wanted to ignore my test files. So .spec.ts. So something like this. And then when I save, it looks fine now. But if you stop and start your server, you get this. And you might think, oh, hey, I've seen this before. Or at least the more senior of you may have seen this before. And you would go and do something like this. Yeah, delete it. It regenerates. And then you should be good, right? npm run start. It's still messed up, but it had nothing to do with ESLint, and entirely to do with this single line of code. So let's save that. npm run start. All right, one more time. Am I gonna have to eat my words again? Oh. Yes. Yes, please. Regenerate. Ignored. Ignores. Right. Okay, there we go. Oh, geez. Yep, that definitely did not take me several hours. Anyway, let's keep going with some of these other configurations. Max statements per line, I think, is pretty obvious. You do not want to have multiple, I don't know, let's just do this twice in a row, right? So I don't know. That just looks lazy and I don't. Yeah, it's just lazy, you know. Just put it on a new line. Oh, and then now it's over the 16 limit. You may also have to restart your ESLint server. So restart ESLint is available if you change your config and it is not showing these warnings. I'm pretty sure it will still show without error lint or error lens, but it won't show inline like this, right? So you won't get this, but it should still show you the yellow underline for the entire block now. So that's how you get that. Cool. Oh boy. Max depth and max nested callbacks. I haven't had to do too many callbacks, but I can see where it can get a little confusing if there's several callbacks in a row. Max depth is something we already have a little bit of a demo for. So here it's already nested 3 times. What do we have it configured as? 4. Whoops, do not move that. So let's go back to our TS file and then just copy this in here. Yes, yes. Let's get rid of some of these. Not that demo. Okay. So if you have a function that is so deeply nested, I think it's time for a refactor, definitely. And yeah, 4 might even be too much. And again, definitely discuss this with your team. All right. I don't think, you know what? Yes, I am going to say it. Your components should not be over 1,000 lines of code. I don't care how convoluted or complex it is. Yeah, I would say 1,000 is too much. And if it is over 1,000 and it really is required, okay. But in most cases, and I am saying most cases, it is just not analyzing your component and component tree well enough and breaking it down. Your components should also function like functions. They should only be doing one thing, in my opinion. All right, I don't have a demo of 1,000 lines. I could just copy and paste, you know. If I want to do that. Oh boy. Just to see this error, right? Actually no. Let me just do it another way. So let's make these. Oh boy, how do I change this so that's easier to copy and paste? Pain. Because I don't want the errors to overlap. But you know what? I don't think this broken error is going to stop me. Just going to copy all of it. There we go. So once you get to a certain point, it's going to highlight the rest of the code. with the yellow underline. And it doesn't show the inline from air lens, but yeah, when you hover over it, you can see that it's saying, hey, you've used your line budget, so time to look at the code and see what can be put into a child component, maybe. Or actually, it might be that you have too much business logic on the component. That can usually be the case, because business logic should not be on components. Usually they should be in your services. So we'll go into that. Yep. Let's undo this mess. Whee. Oh geez. Like how do you look through the code like this? It's been like a whole 5 seconds scrolling up to the top of the file. I don't know how some people do it. Like they build an entire game in a single file. All right, that's it for this episode. Peace.